Hey, we're so excited. We're here at Channel 39 in Marion, Ohio, and it's a great facility. And if you're in the area, you should be watching them on Channel 39. And we're excited. Kristen gets to sing and do some stuff. We'll let you know. In fact, we did a little shot of us walking in. You'll see more about that. Man, this is going to be so much fun, and we're so blessed. And we'll tell you more about it later.
Tyler and James, we have got what, 30 what degrees? No, we got 29 degrees.
29 under cloudy skies.
And it's snowing. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard Kristen Stanton here sing a song for us, and she is now in studio with us. They have come from Defiance, and she said it was terribly snowing, right?
Oh, we had snow squalls all the way here.
Yeah.
And I think we passed about 5 accidents.
Wow.
So it got better as we got closer, but it's a little bit slippery out there.
Awesome. How you doing?
Doing great.
Good. How's your man doing?
Oh, I think he's pretty good.
All right. Well, that's what matters. And we've been, what I like to do every week when we bring somebody on, I like to ask them how long have you been a Christian, and maybe tell us where you got saved and what led you to the Lord.
Well, I actually got saved when I was 4.
Okay.
Grew up in a Christian
20
home.
years ago.
Yeah, about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah, give or take a bit.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but I grew up in a Christian home, and I was saved when I was 4. It was just something, Rob and I were talking about that on the way here.
Right.
And the fact that I think sometimes God calls people at different points. He tugs on their heart at different points in their life. And for me, it was when I was really young.
Right.
And I just remember telling my mom, I want to ask Jesus into my heart.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
I did, and I ended up going to a Christian college, and then went to law school after that. And it was not until after I was finished with law school that God called me to sing.
That's awesome. So you did go to law school. You are a lawyer.
I am.
How do you like that? Okay, let me ask you. Okay, here's a question.
Depends upon
All
what
right.
that
Okay, yeah. Now, okay, since you're a lawyer, you go into these courtrooms and there's a lot of politics involved, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
Now, is there any judge that, I'm sure people know you sing Christian music, correct?
Oh, everybody does.
Okay, so is there any judge, not meaning to bring politics into it, but you just dread because you know, well, he really doesn't like the way I do, or do you guys keep it mostly professional?
No, it's interesting because I don't ever bring it up.
Right.
But most of the time, if we're sitting in chambers and we're looking for a date,
Right.
like to come back for another hearing or
Right.
trial or something of that nature, we'll be pulling out our calendars, and then I'll also be pulling out my phone.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I got to check that one particular date because I know I'm going out of town to sing. And so they all know that I go out and I sing Christian music.
Right.
And a lot of times they'll ask, and what's really been interesting about it is more so opposing counsel.
Yeah.
And I remember one story in particular. We were sitting in the judge's chambers doing this, and he looked at me and he was like, I didn't know you sang. And I said, yeah. He said, do you have any CDs? I said, yeah, I do. And he goes, do you have any with you? I said, well, as a matter of fact, I do. I always keep some in my vehicle. And he said to me, he goes, well, I'd like to listen to one. I looked at him and I said, you do realize this is Christian music, right?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, I know, because I knew he was not a Christian.
Right.
He was really open that he was not a Christian. And he took one of my CDs, and the next time I saw him, he was like, I listened to your whole CD. And I had another attorney that just here recently, I was in court, and we were sitting in a mediation, and the other attorney's client looked at my client and said, did you know your lawyer sang Christian music? And he said, no. And she said, she's really good. And I looked at her and I said, well, how do you know I sing? She goes, well, because when I went into my lawyer's office, he was playing your music.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Some of the stories that I hear are just really neat, and hearing that people are listening to it. And yet another one's told me, he said, I won't listen to any Christian music, but I'll listen to you.
So, okay, you were 4 years old when you got saved, but you didn't discover you could sing until after you got out of law school.
No.
Well, I'm not saying you didn't say you could discover you could sing, but you really didn't start getting into the singing ministry part of it after law school?
It was after law school. I always knew that I could sing. It was something that I always enjoyed doing. But there's a big difference between enjoying doing something and being called to do it.
Right.
For me, it was once God called me to sing, it completely changed the way I approached music.
Right.
And it wasn't until after I finished law school that I went down to the altar one Sunday morning in September, and I told God, I said, God, I'll go anywhere that you want me to go, and I'll do anything that you want me to do. At the time, I was interviewing up in northern Michigan. It was about 4 or 5 hours from where I live.
Right.
And I thought, I'm going to be moving, quite a ways away from the family. And I walked away, and God had called me to sing. I didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Because here I just spent 7 years in college and law school.
Right.
Didn't really know what to do with it. So I went and talked to my pastor, and he told me, he said, Kristen, tell God no until you can't tell God no anymore. He said, you have to find your burning bush, but don't confuse it with a firefly.
Right.
Ministry is very hard. So I told God no for 9 months.
Right.
And then one day I was listening to some music. I couldn't hear the tune for the first time in my life. It was scary. I cried, and I said, okay, God, you got my attention.
Yeah.
I'll do that. And then it was not even until after that I would open up my Bible, and I see you have your Bible open here. And I opened up my Bible and I started singing songs. And so I started writing music, and the song that you just played, Pray Between the Lines, was one of those.
Right. Well, see, and you were talking about that because there was a time after I got divorced, I had been singing so long with different groups, and it was no longer a ministry, it was a show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was tired of it. I mean, I was tired. You go into a church and there's 10 people there and you have to set up a PA. You don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
There's 10 people, you could go down and sit on each other. You could go down and sit on each one's lap and sing them a song personally. And I was done, and I've told this, everybody knows the story, but when I was walking about it, and I went back to that, there's a spot in the woods where I live.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I was a child, that's where I go and I talk to God. And I mean, I was mad. I was angry. I was telling him exactly how, and this is another thing, you want God to laugh, tell him your plans, right?
Absolutely.
And so I was walking back to the house after I'd already done. I said, I'm done singing. I ain't doing it no more. I'm just done. Because it was no longer fun. I wasn't. And on my way back to the house, I said, this is the first time I ever heard him audibly speak to me in my ear. I gave it to you and I can take it away.
Mm-hmm.
It was as clear as you're talking to him, And
I
that's
do know, actually.
Yeah. And it's like, so I thought, well, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna tell my mom on you. Okay. So I did. I went walking in there and I was like, Mommy, your little boy has come crying because God said, and then, so of course she looks at me in her loving, motherly, understanding way and says, well, you better get back to singing. I'm like, well, this ain't right. It's like 2 years.
Mom, you're supposed to be on my side.
Right. So, but now you've recorded CD. What is, I know you're willing to go anywhere, right? So, and now I'm going to get into something else here. You and Rob, that's your husband. I don't know why he's standing over there. He could come on and just show his face. But anyway, you can stand over there. Now you guys are in the ministry also. You go beyond just music now, right?
Yes.
Now you guys have like a podcast every week to where you bring...
We actually do quite a bit. One of the things that Rob was doing before we met was events. He would do Christian music events, and which is how we met.
That's how I met you guys.
Yeah. And then also now, May 5th of last year, we started a television network, Abundant TV, and that's on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, or you can just download it to your mobile device and take us with you wherever you go. So we spend a lot of time doing that. Rob primarily does all of that stuff. We started our TV show beginning of this year, the Rob and Kristen show, and that airs on Abundant TV, and then we also do a podcast. So we're recording our show once a week, we're doing a podcast once a week, and every once in a while he'll say, Kristen, I need a devotional from you. And then, of course, the magazine, and sometimes we'll be writing articles for the magazine or writing devotionals. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I do that when I told God, I'll go anywhere that you want me to go and do anything that you want me to do, I never anticipated doing all of this other stuff.
Well, see, that's another thing we do. We do the radio, we do TV, we do, we sing also. And it's just like, the Lord will keep you busy if you're willing to go. I've always heard He doesn't care about your ability, He wants your availability.
That's good.
Because there are people out there that are far more talented than me. I mean, I know they are. I mean, I've seen people take a guitar, completely turn it upside down and can play this way. Just blows my mind, you know? But it's like, okay, that's a showman there. You know, I've got a showman there. I don't want a showman. But if you can come out and sing for me because you truly love me and you're available to do it, you just wait and see what I can do for you, you know? And it's like we were talking today, Layla was asking earlier, how can a person not believe in Jesus Christ? And that's a question I've asked myself many, many times, is how can a person not believe in Jesus Christ? I mean, just the blessing, if nothing else. Now, I've been to Africa 3 times, and I've seen people, I've been to these third world countries, I've seen where they struggle. I mean, you know, if they made $2 a day, they'd be happy. You know what I mean? But when they get up in the morning and they pray to God to help them get them through the day, and then once they've made it through the day, at the end of the day, they thank God. I mean, they're praying, they thanking God that they made it through the end of the day. And I used to say that we were spoiled here, and I'm not gonna, I said I'm not saying that anymore, because I'm not spoiled. Everything that I get, I have to get up and I have to go to work for. So I told people I am blessed to be here in this country, where the Lord has opened up a door to where if people in other countries need something, I'm able to take, you know, you can take $30 and you can send it to a place in Kenya, and $30 is like, that's a month's pay for some people. And you can help for $30, you can just help people in a way that we can't even comprehend here, because we think if we don't go out to dinner and spend $30, then we're not getting a very good dinner.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do.
So, and it's like, but we're just so thankful that the Lord has put us here. And I think the Bible says, or I don't know if the Bible says it, but to whom much is given, much is required. And I believe that's a true statement, because if we're given this and we can help a person in a third world country, we should do that. I'll tell you what, we're going to take a music break here, Tyler, if you don't mind, and then when we come back, we'll talk to you a little bit more, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, everybody, welcome again to the Good News Freedom Show. And I'm your host, Brother James Deaton. As you can tell, we've got a guest with us. We got Sister Kristen Stanton here. She's going to sing a couple of songs. We're going to come back and talk to her, so we'll be back in a little bit.
Thank you so much.
And I walked away that day and I knew God called me to sing.
Right.
I had been singing, I was on the praise and worship team at church, and so it was not anything that I knew that I couldn't do, but it wasn't something that I dreamed of. You know, you hear a lot about a lot of people that say, when I was 7, I heard so-and-so sing and I dreamed of being a Christian singer.
Right.
Oh no, I told God no for 9 months.
Right.
I had gone and I had talked to my pastor, and he said,
Hey, I'm Rob Patz, and we are super excited about the first Abundant Conference coming up in Perrysburg, Ohio, September 16th. It's going to be a great day. We're going to have so much fun. It's going to be a time of fellowship. You know, when Kristen and I started Abundant TV, one of our things was to encourage the body. You know what? You need to live an abundant life. Come hang out with Kristen and I in Perrysburg, Ohio this September 16th. Now, tickets are free, but you have to go to our website, abundanttv.com, and click on Abundant Conference. Join us for an intimate night of worship and of ministry. It is going to be a great time. Come expecting to live an abundant life.